Adityanath has many other good qualities. He's an extremely honest person. And he's 24 hours devoted to the task. I'm 100% certain he will restore the law and order in UP. And why wasn't he named? Because we named nobody. If we didn't give just going back a little, if we didn't give a single ticket to a Muslim, it's because no Muslim candidate came up who, in our thinking, was a winnable candidate. They were asking for tickets from Hindu areas, not from Muslim areas. But that too, if they were good candidates, we would have definitely done it. We don't want to be part of the normal rat race that we have to have 10% Muslim candidates and we have to put them in. And we said, let the people decide if they are against us. After all, 20% of the population of UP is Muslim. And there are about 125 constituencies where they dominate the results. By the way, in that 125, we have won 85 this time, with Hindu candidates. So these things are questions of dynamics of decision making. And I don't think there was any subterfuge. I can say one thing, I never expected that he would be the chief minister candidate. And in the initial stage, his name never came. And then suddenly it appeared because it's found that the consensus seemed to be more in his favor because most of the MLAs who were sampled, they preferred him. And that's why we made him, not because we wanted to hide this from the public.
Well, Dr. Swamy, you just said that you're not very concerned with what people say, but what they do. I think, again, that's a sleight of hand, and that's a kind of consolation prize for yourself, because the thing is that very often when political figures say something, it has a subterranean impact on the ground. I'm sure you couldn't have been comfortable with the way Muhammad Akhlaq was pulled out of his house and lynched to death.
By whom?
By the neighbors, whoever it may be. I know that they were Hindus. You'll agree that you might argue they were not. Let's assume they were ghosts. But he was killed. He was killed by bricks on the suspicion that he had cow meat in his fridge. A 12-year-old boy was strung up and hung on a tree in Jharkhand because of the climate that is being created by political speeches like this. So yes, you're not doing it, but you're creating an environment where that happens.
Who was in power when this happened, or this Akhlaq case?
Sir, they may have been in power, but like Mr. Modi was in power but doesn't take accountability for what happened in Gujarat, Akhilesh doesn't take accountability for what happened then.
Modi never said that I don't take responsibility for all that has happened. But to say that he was criminally complicit, that is what the courts have to prove. I can't go by your statements.
No, let's not go to Gujarat. We have something much more contemporary. As we said,
here, Akhilesh has not even prosecuted them. Not even one person has been prosecuted. They have not filed an FIR naming these people.
I'm glad you bring this up, and I'm glad Akhilesh lost because he didn't live by his ideal as the leader. But may I suggest to you and put to you that Sangeet Som and the people who were really bhadkawing the crowd was rewarded by the BJP and given ministerships. Mahesh Sharma was rewarded for what he said. So are we always going to play this tic-tac game?
My view of Som and Mahesh Sharma, whom I know both very well, I don't believe they are the type of people who'd go and say, kill this man, butcher him, etc. You say that, I can't accept it. Somewhere we have to have some agency which will decide this. Mr. Advani was thought of as a very suave man, but today the Supreme Court may in fact find him deserving of a charge sheet. We are not stopping it.
That's because he's no longer politically expedient.
No, I mean, you see, you doubt my intentions.
No. I'm again going by evidence. Mr. Advani is not crucial to the BJP party anymore.
This case has been going on even when Mr. Advani was
But that apart, we've never had as strong and muscular a leader as Mr. Modi. When he doesn't tweet about Muhammad Akhlaq, it says something. When he puts Adityanath as CM of UP, it says something.
Your code on how a person should believe is something we will never accept.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
It's your code. I have my code. I will believe that taking anybody's life or putting any innocent person to misery is something I will, if I do, God will punish me, my karma will finish me. This is what we Hindus believe. Therefore, I don't believe that these stories. Now, as far as I have addressed several meetings with Adityanath. He's a very good friend of mine. And I've never seen him say this. He went to a riot area and he definitely said, and he specifically targeted the criminal elements who are people who everybody knows who those criminal elements are. He said, he warned you that if you do it, we'll take 10 of you. That's what he said. He didn't say, I will kill 10 Muslims. You show me that tape, I'll be happy to write to him and tell him,
Sir,
how did you say this?
Dr. Swamy, may I suggest to you, as you said, you will not live by my code of conduct. Yeah. I haven't actually articulated mine yet, so I don't know how you're dismissing it.
I can guess.
You can guess. See, we live with assumptions. May I suggest to you, the political path there could have been to say that if you take anybody's life, I will ensure you land your ass in jail.
Yes.
Rather than to say,
Absolutely.
I will take 100 of yours, you know.
No, but whether he said it or not, I have no evidence.
So if you just Google it, you'll find it.
I will Google it.
Please,
and send you since I have your email address, I'll send it to you.
I've already seen it, so just see it yourself.
Yeah, but you might have seen it in Telka, I think, no?
No. He said it post Tehelka, it's happened now.
But post Tehelka, okay.
And Dr. Swamy, again, I have at no point insinuated anything when I'm having a conversation with you. To insinuate that Tehelka, which is a publication I headed in the past as a managing editor, that it had any agenda is again not based on fact. It's not based on evidence. So insinuation is
I'll let that pass.
Okay. Yeah. I'd just like to say that insinuation is poor intellectual tactic, you know.
No, it's not insinuation. I have experienced what you have said. I'll not go into it. It's not important.
Okay.
Because you have not misused government power to harm me in any way. So I have nothing against you.
Okay. Dr. Swamy, just, when we were speaking about, you've just moved a bill for death penalty for cow slaughter.
Yeah.
Again, why always in excesses, Dr. Swamy? You're really a sonata of excesses now, you know. And one last question, again to stay with Adityanath, if you can explain yourself on cow slaughter. And the second thing is that Adityanath, the first thing that he's done is to create Romeo squads. Your daughter married a Muslim man. These Romeo squads go around disrupting perfectly personal love relationships as a big civilizational affront, you know. Do you defend Romeo squads? Do you defend the idea of love jihad? Do you really believe that Hindu women are foolish enough to be kidnapped by Muslim men and that there should be a vice versa going on, ghar wapasi? Are these things that you really feel intellectually close to?
Listen, first of all, I don't think you have read the statement of this morning, where he says, I have very categorically said, couples who are moving freely together, no one should touch them. He has made that statement. So he had got this report that they were disrupting everybody. So he has made that clarity. He has clarified that. So I will not go into that. The second question is, who any individual marries is none of my business. After all, I married a Parsi. Fortunately, I must say, my parents never objected. The Parsis objected because they are a small community.
They had a premonition.
Because I think they're a small community and they felt, this is losing. I told them that, you see, in the Parsi community, if a man marries outside, he can marry a barmaid in England and their children become Parsis. I had in fact offered one, I have two daughters, I said one of them can be a Parsi. But the Parsi clerics didn't accept. So, I'm not on this issue, who can marry whom. This is a free choice. You choose it. Nobody can come in your way. This love jihad was created by the Kerala High Court, which said that there was a systematic, motivated program to lure unsuspecting women and then convert them and then abandon them. This is a judgment of this Kerala High Court. And then it caught fire, that word. Even here, we have to be very careful. And I certainly think that if any example comes where people of their own free will meet together and they are harassed, I'll be happy to take it up with the Chief Minister and tell him this must stop. We are not for it at all. We are bound by the Constitution. And the Constitution one day Owaisi said he was also bound by the constitution. I said, constitution says that cow slaughter should be banned. Are you now bound to, will you accept that? He said, no, that part I don't accept. Then I asked him, what about uniform civil code? That's also in the constitution. He said, that part also I don't accept. In the end, maybe he won't accept the constitution, but the fact is that when it comes to cow slaughter, it is such a profitable business to export it, particularly to Bangladesh and Pakistan. So there are illegal movements that take place. When I say death sentence, doesn't mean that the moment a person is found to have either slaughtered a cow or he has smuggled out a large number of cows for slaughter, that he should be immediately given the death sentence. The Supreme Court has made it very clear, death sentence can be only in the rarest of rare cases. But we need a deterrent punishment. At the present time, it's on some 5,000 rupees and I think 2 months in jail. That's hardly a punishment. People happily go and come back. The fact of the matter is that I'm trying to awaken the consciousness, because this Bos indicus breed is an extraordinary breed which I can give you magazines, scientific magazines of the United States, which says that the milk of this particular variety is something completely different from from all the milk that is available in the Western world and elsewhere. This now, in fact, if you please check through Google, New Zealand is seriously thinking of banning Bos indicus, which is the Indian variety of cow, their slaughter in New Zealand. So I just based on some scientific analysis which I have done, and I've come to the conclusion that somehow we must not only, and my bill, by the way, is not only about capital punishment. It's about establishing an authority which will go into how cows are bred in this country, how they are abandoned, how to take care of them after they become too old to be of any use. They shouldn't be allowed in the street. All that into account. And therefore, if we can make imprisonment of 7 years for killing a peacock, you know that we have a law which says you can't kill a peacock. Why shouldn't we have a law which is severely bans or deterrent punishment for the treatment of cows? So that's all it is.
Okay, we've run out of time. I'm going to open this up to the House. We haven't even started touching on economy, which is a whole other minefield of interesting things where Dr. Swamy is concerned. What he said about Raghuram Rajan, what he said about Arun Jaitley. Before I start taking audience questions, can you really treat us as privileged audience and give us your off-the-record version of what happened to the GDP after demonetization kicked in?
Well, I mean, you put me in a dilemma whether I should become an economist or a politician. The GDP growth, human. Well, after her class has brutalized me for so many years, I can't be.
Thank you for that unvarnished truth, Dr. Swamy. You've been loyal to that idea of being intellectual, so thank you. Thank you for being privileged enough, allowing us to be privileged enough to hear that, the unvarnished truth about the GDP. I'd like to ask you that, we do as club members offer our speakers Chatham House rules. So can we share this, or would you like us not to share this?
Well, you can share amongst yourself, but I don't want to see it in the newspaper.
Okay.
But if it comes in the newspaper, it won't. I mean, it's like water off my duck's back. It won't affect me. But the fact of the matter is that it will make me a little more careful next time.
No, we don't want to add to this, this volcanic cynicism that drives you, Dr. Swamy. We can be sure of that. So let me open this up to questions from the audience. Yeah, there's one here.
Dr. Swamy, right here.
Oh, yeah.
I'll stand up. Do you think absolute power corrupts? And if you see the current dispensation of BJP with its absolute power that it's getting across the country become corrupt or become a theocratic state, would you then stand in opposition against that?
First of all the corruption of the UPA period was brought out by not their own people, but by people in the opposition like myself. these last 3 years, I have not seen any congressperson bring out any case of corruption which stands the test of the court. There are all kinds of remarks made, but none of that. And in fact, the last one where an attempt was made was on the Sahara Diaries matter. The Supreme Court threw it out. Now, therefore, I would assume, for your sake, because if you may not believe what I say as a partisan BJP man, but there is nothing on record to show that the present dispensation at the level of the Prime Minister is corrupt. Number two, I have found in my interaction with him that when I bring him to his notice that something is not being prosecuted, he has immediately ordered the prosecution. When I've told him that such and such officer is actually corrupt and or he belongs to the previous administration and is helping the people of the previous administration, he has made the change. So there is no way I can today say that Mr. Narendra Modi, having so much absolute power, is engaged in any corruption at all. Second, I don't even think that he has absolute power. Because if he had absolute power, according to me, Adityanath would not have been Chief Minister. He was not his choice. And yet he yielded.
That's big news. That might make it to the news.
No, I don't mind it being made into news. But the fact is that this is the truth. For 4-5 days, some other name was there. I think Manu Sinha or something like that. It was one of the ministers of state. And it was the single name. And then suddenly, by other people, they said, no, the person who can manage the MLAs is Adityanath, and that's how he came, and he agreed with it. He didn't disagree with it, he didn't fight it, but he agreed with it, but he never proposed it. The proposal was for Manu Sinha. So, I don't see him being, although he appears to be a very strong-willed person, etc., I have not seen him in our dealings in the party as a dictator. And it's very difficult for him to be dictator with me around because I will speak up. I can give you that assurance, the one who asked. Any wrong happens, I will speak up. For instance, on GST, I'm not going to let it come. I'm going to knock it out. It's the most anti-national thing that I ever thought of. It is not even originally our idea. It is the idea of that crazy Chidambaram.
Sorry, I can't see because the light is in.
There was one here.
And then we'll geographically go there after that.
Also. Okay. Here. Yes, sir. Yes.
Today there's Modi, where there's a lot of comments which are being made. What has changed?
No, Modi is not the same thing as Modi is India and India is Modi. In fact, there was Har Har Modi, one slogan had come. And Modi immediately put a stop to it because it's very close to Har Har Mahadev, you see. And therefore, he disallowed it. So I don't think they are two are comparable. And see, you must also know one thing which many people don't realize, although when brought to their attention, they will probably accept. Our party, there is no one family which runs the party, unlike most other parties. Modi's family doesn't run, there's no way Modi can decide who the successor will be. And there are countervailing forces which are, what I will say, passive, but on occasions they can be mobilized. I would not be today a member of parliament, but for the fact that these countervailing forces in our party put its foot down and said no more, because I was supposed to be a Lok Sabha candidate for BJP from New Delhi. And I was forced to leave my old constituency of Bombay and come here by Nitin Gadkari and Rajnath Singh. And then my name was declared, I started working, and the day before my nomination, I get a call that Mr. Jaitley has a hysterical breakdown, saying I'm not a Punjabi and therefore I should not be given the ticket. I never knew that BJP thought in terms of Punjabis and Madrasis. And actually New Delhi has no Punjabis, there's mostly Madrasis anyway. But doesn't matter. But then after that, 2.5 years passed by, and suddenly the countervailing forces said, what is this going on? And that's how I came in. So this party, all said and done, is structured in such a way that one person cannot dominate it. That I am personally convinced from having known them for such a long time.
We'll just take one. I'm really sorry. Well, two questions, Payal, if we have time.
There's one here. He's been.
Let's just go geographically to the
Yeah,
back because we
okay.
haven't taken any from there. One there, and then Saeed. Yeah.
At times I wonder that how do you get all the information on which politician has how much investments in which asset class?
Yeah.
You must have got a real strong research team working for you.
Yeah, you see, I have made one rule in my life which is the opposite of everybody else. I never publicize my friends, but I publicize my enemies. I have never let down people who have come and given me information. You know that in the 2G matter, the personal secretary of Mr. Raja, he was the one who gave me the material. I never let him down. And Raja and the entire
You're
Congress...
not letting him down now?
Now I let him down because I brought him into the party. He's now a member of the party. So, therefore, and then see, I have some other unique situations. I went to a public school in Delhi. It was called Delhi Public School, but it was those days called Church High School. Then I went to college here. My father was a secretary. My father-in-law was an ICS. And then, of course, I have spent years in Harvard. So that network is today sustaining me in getting this information.